Hey, what's going on everybody? It's ETAPRIME back here again. Today we've got some exclusive news about the upcoming Ayaneo Pocket Air. Now, if you're not familiar with this device, it's actually launching at the end of August, and it's Ayaneo's first Android-powered handheld to hit the market. Now, I personally love the look of it. It's got an absolutely beautiful 5.5-inch OLED display running at 1080p, and we already know a lot about the specs of this device, but I have it on good authority that we're actually going to be seeing two versions of this once it launches on Indiegogo, and the second version is going to have a majorly upgraded SoC, otherwise known as the CPU here, so we're going to see much better performance out of that one. And right now, the only CPU they've announced for the Pocket Air is the Dimensity 1200, but we're also going to be seeing the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 version of this. And like I mentioned, I have it on very good authority that this will be launching. We're going to see a tremendous upgrade over the Dimensity 1200 when it comes to the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, putting it up there with the most powerful Android handhelds on the market. And I think this actually has a lot to do with AIM announcing their Odin 2 with that Snapdragon Gen 2. And just to give you an idea of the performance uplift we're going to kind of see with that Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 in the Pocket Air, I've got some benchmarks here, and first up, Geekbench 5. I usually use Geekbench 6, but I really couldn't find anything with that Dimensity 1200. Single core for the Dimensity 1008, multi 3024. On the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, single core 1557, multi 4970. With Geekbench 5, it's not looking like a huge jump, but let's check out some GPU benchmarks with 3D Mark Wildlife Extreme. On the 1200, we got a total score of 1,308. On the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, 3,760. That's a little over a 96% increase when it comes to this synthetic GPU benchmark. And the final one I ran here was an 229. On the Dimensity 1200, 681,451. On the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, 1,275,400. So obviously that 8 Gen 2 can trump the Dimensity 1200 when it comes to CPU and GPU performance, but one thing I need to mention here is all of these benchmarks will actually run on devices that do not have active cooling. Throw in active cooling to the mix with that Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, and now we can actually keep those maximum clocks up for much longer without thermal throttling, and running that same benchmark with active cooling, we've actually got over a 900,000 point increase over the Dimensity 1200 when it comes to Antutu. And one thing that hasn't been made clear so far is going to be the price difference between the 1200 version versus the Snapdragon version. But I'm going to tell you right now, I mean, if it's not that much, definitely go with that 8 Gen 2 version. You won't regret it, and it's definitely going to offer much better performance across the board, especially for higher end emulators. I'm definitely going to try to get my hands on both versions so we can do a little bit of a face-off, but one thing I know a lot of people are going to want to see is the AIM Odin 2 versus the Snapdragon version of the Ayaneo Pocket Air. They're both going to be running that Snapdragon 8 Gen 2. Really comes down to how they have the software set up, and we'll definitely take a look at those if I can get my hands on them. But that's going to wrap it up for this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Are you even interested in an Android-powered handheld? Or have you been eyeballing an x86 handheld that's on the market right now, or just waiting for something to come in the future? Let me know down below. Like always, thanks for watching.